Could Florida's bullet train project get back on track after a 10-year derailment? How hard is it for political candidates to raise money in the worst economy in modern history? And are Democrats and Republicans each conceding a statewide cabinet seat? All of that on Power Play this week with our guests, the bureau chiefs, Mary Ellen Klas of the Miami Herald and Mike Vassalinda of Capitol News Service. Jeb Bush takes the office as governor in 1999 and takes great pride in killing the so-called bullet train. And this week we hear it may come back to life to go after federal money.
It's fascinating. Look at what one change in administration will do. I mean, it's pretty clear that this administration is interested in a couple things. Interested in making sure Florida is a viable place for a future administration, a future re-election bid perhaps, but also...
You're talking about President Obama now.
I'm talking about President Obama's administration and how now we've got the prospect of reviving something that was killed 10 years ago as one of the first acts of Jeb Bush. And it's so clear to me that this is yet another dismantling of the Jeb Bush legacy.
And Mike, we're a big state with many transportation needs, but 10 years later...
I call it a long shot on this one. There are other states that want it more. Our voters, yes, they approved it, but they also disapproved it at Jeb Bush's urging. Yes, Obama may want to get reelected here, but I think there are other states that want the money, and $8 billion to build a $16 or $20 billion train isn't a lot of money.
All right. On track also are political campaigns for those who want to get elected in 2010 to some of these key 5 statewide races, U.S. Senate, Governor, AG, CFO, Ag Commissioner, all the legislative seats. How hard is it for candidates to raise money this far out, because they're all trying to do it before June 30th for a good quarterly report?
Well, I think we're seeing that they're rattling cages. It's a slow summer season, and they are spending a lot of time getting everybody to contribute. What's interesting, though, is we've got some dynamics. Alex Sink, for example, this week is having to ask Republican donors to her campaign if they still want to contribute. And actually, some of them are saying, sorry, Alex, we'd take the money back.
Well, and that's because she first was raising money as a CFO candidate for re-election, and then is now transitioning to the governor's race.
I think what you're going to see, the people that are giving $2,300 checks to Charlie Crist are going to be able to still do that. They're going to want to do that. I think the governor's race is going to have plenty of money in it. I think some of the other down ballot races, including legislative races, are going to be a little bit harder. What I think it's going to do is it's going to make it much harder for non-incumbents to raise money. I think everyone's going to want to put their money with incumbents.
So Ag Commissioner candidates, CFO candidates, they're going to have a harder time raising money because the big money may be gone to the governor's race and the U.S. Senate race?
I think Ag Commissioner is an exception. I think you've got some really big interests there who will support the Republican nominees, sugar and citrus and the likes.
And remember, every seat on the cabinet is open this year. So there is going to be competition for those dollars. There's no doubt about it. And it's probably going to be harder. Your premise is right. It's going to be harder than ever for them to raise money.
Well, are Democrats and Republicans each conceding one statewide cabinet race? Because there isn't a Republican announced in the AG's race yet, and there's not a Democrat announced for CFO.
I think people are waiting. I think it's too early right now for them to say that they've conceded anything.
Right. The Democrats are calling around looking for endorsements from anybody they can get an endorsement from in the AG's race. Kottkamp, widely rumored to be shaving his mustache so he can indeed run for Attorney General. And then I think we've got to see what happens in the CFO race. I doubt it gets conceded, but I doubt there's anyone that's a household name.
Well, 17 months out from an election, I know people who are afraid to pick up the phone now when there's a politician calling because it's only for one thing, money. Let's go to your respective Power Play of the week. Mary Ellen.
Well, I would have to say that the brother of Ray Sansom, the indicted Speaker of the House, put up a legal defense fund on behalf of his brother. He mistakenly sent it out to a lot of lobbyists this week, and in trying to collect some money on his brother's behalf, which exactly violates the ethics rules. So it was a power play, although perhaps misdirected.
Okay, Michael?
Jim King, he beats pancreatic cancer, at least for now, says he's going to come back to Tallahassee as a changed man, more compassion.
And I'll do a shout out for the powerful T.K. Weatherall, the FSU president, who announced this week he's going to be stepping down as soon as they can find a replacement. Mary Ellen Klas, Mike Vassalinda, thank you very much. For the latest political news, go to the Safety Review, and we'll see you next time on Power Play.